Welcome to Way to Grow. If you have a plant like this in your yard with this sort of powdery little mildew on there, that's exactly what it is. It's powdery mildew, and it has to do with the excess moisture in the ground and around the plant. And with all the rain we've had, you probably have some plants in your yard that have this problem. And to tell us more how to correct this problem is Dwayne Friesen from Lacoste Garden Center. Dwayne, this is something that a lot of gardeners are experiencing right now.
Yeah, it's going to be, and we'll be dealing with it throughout the year now, and it's just that excess amount of moisture that we had. And almost all diseases, the trigger point for them is being wet, being moist, high humidities, and that's going to be happening now. And the trigger point is the 12 hours of being moist or high humidity around the leaf at one time. So when we've got the ground that it's so wet and the humidity is high around the plant, we start seeing this one. It's one of the more common problems is powdery mildew, and lots of plants get it. It's not host specific. It'll go all over. It's a disease. It's always out there waiting for the right conditions to happen, and it can be controlled, but our controls are going to be more on a preventive scale as opposed to getting rid of it now. We can't get rid of it. It's there. So the best way to get rid of it is simply cut it off. So a plant like this, you would prune any leaves. If you've got any of your plants with powdery mildew, simply take those leaves off, get them in a garbage bag. It's not something I'd say you go put in your compost unless your compost is very efficient, and burn it off. But get rid of the leaves. Then the problem is gone right there.
So this one here, this is a spirea.
Yeah.
So would you prune this back?
Yeah, you could prune this one back. You know, you're not going to get all of it because this is a very serious case here, but you'd get most of it. Then you start doing some of the other controls like a spray, and right now we've got a garden fungicide here. This is using sulfur, and you can buy powdered sulfur and mix it with water, or you can buy it pre-mixed like this one is here. Now sulfur will work as a contact. It'll kill the spores as they land on the sulfur, not as the sulfur lands on the spores. So we want to get it on there. So you do your pruning and start doing your spraying on it so that you can be there as a preventative. If you've got a plant that year after year you seem to have that recurrence of powdery mildew on it, use the sulfur before it shows up. In the spring already start on it. Just get the sulfur on there. Use it as a preventative on there. But certainly remove the infected areas first of all. I've also got Bordeaux spray here, and this will be not so much for powdery mildew. You won't get good control on that, but it will be for use for black spot, mostly on roses that will show up on there, the familiar black spots that end up leaving holes on there. Bordeaux spray or copper spray is a great one to use on black spot type of diseases and any other leaf spot diseases where you notice the black spots on the leaf, and that can be different types of blights on there.
Okay, so we've talked about the powdery mildew and the black spot, but with this excess and moisture, is there something else that should be done with your plants? I've noticed some of mine are a little yellowy now.
Yeah, and with all of this rain, we're going to start dealing with plants that are more prone to it. Iron chlorosis, and that's where you're going to see the leaves on the tree just turning a bright yellow or a lime green. You're going to see the veins of the leaf are going to become much more predominant on it, and it's going to be a general overview of the whole plant, not just the various sections on it. So it's very, very...
So your plants are becoming iron deficient, is that what it is?
Yeah, and it may not be that there's not iron in the soil, but it just be because of the wet conditions the plant is stressed and it's not taking up the iron. So I've got a few products here that can help with that. First of all, if we just want to get iron to the plant, I've got Iron Safe here by Lily Miller, and I've got Iron Chelate here. Both of these are iron fertilizers. The Lily Miller is something that is just, it's very easy to use. It's a powder, granules that you're going to be spreading around the plant, and it'll help acidify the soil and add iron to the soil. And it's very easy to work, and it works on all sorts of different plants, and even if you want to use it on container plants or in your garden, Lily Miller works great on there, and it's relatively safe to use. Directions are easy to follow. The Iron Chelate that I have here can be used either as a spray. It can be absorbed through the plant, through the leaves, if you'd spray it on, and it works very fast that way, or you can mix it with water and water it in around the plant. If you do it with the water in method, the drench method, it will work a bit slower, but it lasts longer. But Iron Chelator is very readily available to the plants. Iron is something that is not readily accessible to a lot of plants. In a chelated form, when you see that word there, the chelate form, it's very readily available for the plants to use, so it can take it up easy and you get that quick response, getting the iron back in there. And you may have to do a couple of applications of either one of these two methods to make sure that they're getting up the iron in there.
Now you also have this. This is aluminum sulfate.
Aluminum sulfate, and this would be something that you can use if just the ground is wet. The iron is there, but it's not being released to the plant, and that can often happen when our pH levels of the soil go too high. Aluminum sulfate like this can acidify the soil, and when the soil gets acidified, it starts to release that iron easier to the plants, so it's more available to the plants to use. So this would be more of a soil conditioner to make the iron available. The other two methods were adding the iron to the plant. So those are things to keep out for. But again, the iron chlorosis can be it's very easy to pick up. We've got a plant beside us here that we'll showcase for you as well. You can pick up this very distinctive signs of the iron deficiency in the plants.
So if you are having any of these issues in your garden, there's lots of products on the market to help you get your plants back to a better, healthier life. If you have any questions, you could stop by Lacoste Garden Center. They're located at 2787 St. Mary's Road, and talk to Dwayne and the staff. And your website also has some information on these products.
There'll be some of that information there as well, and you can look us up on lacostegardencentre.ca.